Dad, I hope you'll support me on this. I sat across from my father, my hands clenched tightly together under the table. The steady hum of the ceiling fan above us filled the silence, but it did nothing to calm my nerves. He was reading through the documents I had just given him, his sharp eyes scanning every word, his expression unreadable. I had imagined this moment 1,000 times, what he would say, how he would react, whether he would be proud of me or disappointed. I swallowed hard, forcing my voice to stay steady. Dad, I hope you'll support me on this. His eyes flicked up from the papers, locking onto mine. This is serious, he said finally, his voice calm but firm. You're really going through with this? I nodded. Yes, Dad, I've made up my mind. He didn't say anything right away. That was the worst part. The silence. The way he looked at me as if searching for something. A sign that I wasn't making a mistake. I had always wanted to make him proud. For as long as I could remember, his approval had meant everything to me. And now, sitting here asking for his support, I wasn't sure if I was about to get it. He set the papers down carefully, folding his hands together. Do you understand what you're giving up? He asked. I exhaled slowly. Yes, I do. And you've thought this through 100 times over. His jaw tightened. I could see the thoughts running through his mind. He was weighing everything. The risks, the uncertainty, the fact that I was choosing a path different from the one he had always imagined for me. And then he finally spoke. Tell me why. This was my chance to make him see. I took a deep breath. Because this is what I want, Dad. Not because it's easy, not because it's safe, but because it's right for me. He didn't interrupt, so I kept going. I know you've always had a vision for my future. I know you wanted me to follow a certain path. But Dad, I hesitated, choosing my words carefully. I need to follow my own dreams, not yours. I saw something shift in his eyes. A flicker of understanding, a moment of hesitation. And then, a sigh. He leaned back in his chair, rubbing a hand over his face. You're really not going to change your mind, are you? I shook my head. No, Dad, this is what I need to do. The moment that changed everything. He sat there for a long moment, staring at the papers once more. And then, finally, he nodded. All right, he said quietly. My heart pounded. All right, he exhaled. If this is what you truly want, then I'll support you. The relief that flooded through me was overwhelming. I had braced myself for a fight, for disappointment, for the weight of his disapproval. But instead, I had his support. I smiled, my throat tight with emotion. Thank you, Dad, he sighed again, shaking his head with a small smile. Just promise me one thing, anything, that you'll never regret your decision. I met his gaze, my voice steady. I won't. And in that moment, I knew I had finally stepped into the life that was meant for me. The air between us was still thick, with unspoken words. Even though he had just given me his support, I could tell he wasn't completely at peace with my decision. He sat there, his fingers tapping lightly against the table, his brows slightly furrowed. You know, he finally said, when I was your age, I had my own dreams too. That caught me off guard. You did? He nodded, a small nostalgic smile tugging at the corners of his lips. I wanted to be a musician, he admitted. But my father didn't see it as a real future. He told me to be practical, to choose stability over passion. I stayed silent, hanging on to his every word. So I listened to him, he continued. I gave up my dreams and followed the path he wanted for me. And don't get me wrong, I built a good life. But sometimes late at night, I wonder, he exhaled deeply. What if I had chosen differently? His words hit me hard. For the first time, I saw my father not just as the strong, unwavering man I had always looked up to, but as someone who had once been just like me, someone who had dreams, someone who had fears, someone who had to make an impossible choice. And in that moment I understood why this conversation had been so hard for him. He wasn't just worried about my future, he was seeing a reflection of his past. I don't want you to live with regret. He leaned forward, placing a hand over mine. His grip was firm, steady, just like it had always been when I needed reassurance as a child. Listen to me, he said, his voice quieter now. If this is truly what you want, then go after it with everything you have. Don't let anyone make you doubt yourself. Don't let fear hold you back. And most importantly, don't ever look back and wonder what if the way I did. My throat tightened. I won't, Dad, I promised. For the first time since I sat down at this table, I saw something new in his expression. Not just acceptance, but pride. He let out a slow breath, leaning back in his chair as if the weight of years had settled onto his shoulders. You're braver than I was, he admitted. I let fear control me, I let expectations decide my future. I shook my head. You did what you thought was best at the time. You built a life, a family, and gave me everything I needed. There's no shame in that. His lips pressed into a thin line. Maybe, he murmured, but I don't want you to look back one day and feel like you settled. I sat up straighter. I won't. His eyes met mine, studying me in that way only a father could, searching for any cracks, any hesitation. Then tell me one more time, why this? Why now? I exhaled slowly. Because I know in my heart that this is what I was meant to do. And you understand what you're sacrificing. Yes, and if things don't go as planned, I smiled, then I'll keep going. Because this isn't just a choice, Dad, it's my future. The moment of truth. He stayed quiet for a long time, then finally he nodded. All right, he said. Then I won't stand in your way. Relief flooded through me. So, you support me? A small smirk tugged at the corner of his lips. I still think you're crazy, he said. But if this is what makes you happy, then yes, you have my support. A lump formed in my throat, but I swallowed it down. That means everything to me, Dad. He reached across the table, squeezing my hand in that firm, reassuring way he always did. Then go make me proud. I grinned. I will. And in that moment I knew, no matter what happened next, I had already won. The weight in my chest lightened. But I could still see the worry in his eyes. Even though he had given me his support, part of him still wasn't fully at peace. I know you're proud of me, I said carefully, but I can also tell that you're still worried. He let out a deep sigh, rubbing his temples like he was trying to piece his thoughts together. Of course I'm worried, he admitted. That's my job. You might be grown now, but you'll always be my kid. I smiled at that. I get it, Dad, but I need you to trust that I'm ready for this. He studied me for a moment, then nodded slowly. It's not that I don't trust you, he said. It's just that I know how unpredictable life can be. You think you have everything figured out, and then suddenly, you don't. I leaned forward, resting my arms on the table. I know it won't be easy. I know there will be challenges, but I'm prepared for that. I've thought about every risk, every obstacle, and I still want this. He needed to know that I was ready. He exhaled, shaking his head with a small, tired smile. You really are stubborn, he muttered. I learned from the best. That made him chuckle. Fair enough, he said, but promise me one thing, anything. If it ever gets too hard, if you ever feel like you're drowning, just know that you can always come back. There's no shame in changing paths, if you need to. I nodded. I appreciate that, Dad, but I'm not planning on coming back. I'm planning on making this work. For the first time that night, I saw something shift in his expression. Not just concern, not just understanding, but belief. The conversation that changed everything. He reached across the table and placed a firm hand on my shoulder. Then go make it happen. My heart swelled. I will. A slow nod, a deep breath. And just like that, I had not only my father's support, but his faith in me. And that meant everything.